Hello everyone, this is Punierme. I'm going to be beginning a series of Call of Duty videos, and I decided the best place to start would be my initial reaction to Season 4, now that I've had about a week to interact with it, play with it, figure out my thoughts on it. So, before I actually get into that, really quickly, I want to get into where I'm coming from as a Call of Duty player so you understand my point of view a little bit better. I've played a lot of CSGO and a lot of Battlefield 4 back in the day. I still play CSGO occasionally when I have the urge. And I've played Destiny 1 for a bunch of months. I played some multiplayer Black Ops 2, lots of Zombies Black Ops 2, a little bit of Black Ops 4 Zombies, which I still occasionally get into again. And I also played some Battlefield 1, World War 1, which occasionally I get into as well. That's where I'm coming from as a Call of Duty player. New-ish to the series, intermediate in FPS. So with that out of the way, I'm going to address my issues with the season, which are fewer in number than my particular likes of the season. My issues with the season are first off that the non-completionist members of the Call of Duty community got nothing for them specifically. Now, throughout the season releases of Call of Duty, there have been things out there for pretty much everyone, with a couple of things, thrown into the seasons. Usually the mid-season, they'll drop something big-ish. And at the start of this season, there were no big drops, really. For multiplayer, the drop was Weapon Mastery Challenges, which, as I stated before, are really for the completionists. Non-completionists got Deadly Squat, and this is an issue I have with the season. I like the Weapon Mastery Challenges, and I don't mind that they didn't do huge, sweeping drops on this season. I don't mind that. It's the breather episode, and it allows completionists, or people who just want to work on something, to work on the Obsidian camos that were just recently released, the new Weapon Mastery Challenges. It gives us time to work on these. And it also gives new players coming in from the free Warzone time to adjust, time to learn how the multiplayer works, and I appreciate that breathing space. And I think partially that might be why they didn't give anything to the non-completionist section of the fan base, is because without something new to worry about, to work with, or to actually try to understand, newer players have an easier time easing into the game, multiplayer-wise. And if that's the case, fine, but it still would have been really nice to have something for the non-completionists of the community. Because really there are like two kinds of Call of Duty players, completionist and non-completionist. And for this season, the completionists got stuff, and the non-completionists didn't. Warzone got the random events. If you play Warzone regularly, then, quite frankly, you already know what I'm talking about. If you don't play Warzone regularly, you probably don't care. Or you care very little. I am going to mention that I dislike the fire sale event quite a bit because I find it to have almost no impact on how I play Warzone. And I play Warzone with regular frequency. I play it about as much as I play multiplayer. And I just have only ever had an impact in one game in the past week, because it just happens too late in the game for me to take advantage of those discounts. I don't generally need anything out of the buy station other than a UAV, which by that point in the game, usually not only I, but most players will have the money for on hand. So really it doesn't make a huge difference in the game, and I dislike that it has almost no impact. Every once in a while, I'm sure it's affected somebody's game. If your experience has been different, please leave a comment. That would be great. But I personally haven't had it change how I play Warzone. Onto things that I like, I do, besides of course the lighter amount of content in this season for breathing, I do really like the Supply Chopper event, because it forces you to make a really quick decision. Either you alone if you're playing solos, or you as a squad. Do you reveal your position and shoot at the helicopters, since shooting up at a helicopter gives you away very easily, or do you try to take out other players who are shooting at the helicopter instead? And it becomes a really interesting question of risk and reward And I like that a lot. And it can make a pretty big impact on the future of your Warzone game. And I do appreciate that. So that's an event I really like, and I hope it becomes a permanent fixture in the Warzone, because I do really like this event a lot. Those are really the main things that I really like. The only other real issues outstanding for the season is I'm hoping that they'll start working on the hacking. I personally haven't experienced a ton of this, but I have seen some hacking, and I definitely understand the frustration. I don't like hacking either, and the fact that it's prevalent enough where I can see it relatively consistently. Not every game, I'm going to give you that, but I see it regularly. I see it at least once a night, and that's not really something you want to be seeing at all. So I'm hoping that with the lighter amount of content drop, that they're spending some time working on a way to get rid of these hackers without damaging the overall connection of the rest of the community. That's a hope. I would also like to point out that this is the calm before the storm of the loss of Verdansk as a Warzone map, because we've now seen that there is an internal section of the stadium that we'll be able to get into soon. I imagine that will be released halfway through the season, and that'll be exciting. I'm hoping the non-completionist segment of the multiplayer fan base gets something as well. That would be very nice. Balance out all of the cool stuff us completionists got. That would be very good. So I'm not going to give up on the season yet. I like it so far. But also I'm fairly hopeful for it because of the lack of content drop. I also don't want to rush them into making a huge series of cool things, because frankly, if we rush them, the stuff that they do come out with, even if we like the concept, isn't going to be well executed. So giving them the season to clean some stuff up, mostly the hackers, some of the glitches, if not all the glitches, and really prep for the new map, making sure it works and everything, I'm okay with that. I'm just hoping that throughout the season they really fix what needs to be fixed. I do appreciate and understand the viewpoint of people and why they're disappointed. I get it, but I also understand why this season is so lackluster, and I like it for that. It gives those of us who need it some time to fiddle around and do some of the Call of Duty stuff we need or want to do. So that's my particular perspective overall on how this season is going and what they probably are thinking with it. Hopefully, like I said, a lot of the future of this season are my personal hopes for the season. The stadium opening up is almost a certainty, but I'm not going to call it a certainty because you never know what's going to happen. But overall, I'm optimistic for the season in the future. So what I'll do is, after the halfway point of the season, probably a week after the halfway point, I will come back with another video on my thoughts on the season after the halfway point. And then a week before the end of the season, I'll probably recap at the end what I did and did not like about the season. But so far, I like it. I'm optimistic about the future of this season, and I'm okay with what they're doing right now. If they take this time to get rid of the hackers, that'd be a huge plus. Some of the glitches, not super important, because sometimes they're pretty funny, in all honesty. So I don't really mind that. But it would be nice to get rid of some of those. So for now, just kick back, relax, don't worry too much about winning, don't worry about the hackers, don't even worry about your KDA, just cruise through it, don't worry about it. Think of this as Call of Duty vacationing. You just while away time, figure out what you do and do not like, try some new things. If you want to try a new gun, this is the season to do it. Nothing big's gone down, try something new. I've discovered a new love for the PP-19 Bazan. I probably mispronounced that, I'm sorry. It's my new favorite gun. I love this gun. And right here I'm discovering this particular Warzone. I discovered a love of sniping. So that's at least in Warzone, I've really come to grips with the fact that I'm a decent sniper now. So that's cool. So I've been, really branching out and exploring my options this season. And if you don't like the season or you don't like the lack of content that drop, just take some time to experiment with some new stuff. Just mix it up a little bit. I mean, there's nothing else to really worry about at the moment, so at least Call of Duty wise, so it's nice. I expect Season 5 to be very intense and very interesting, so we have also that to look forward to. So, in the meantime, thank you all for listening, or watching if you also watched, and I hope you have a great day.